Hi everyone. In this video, we're going to go over a common question that we get in the library, which is, how do I choose an article once I've done a search? On my screen here, you will see the search results page for typing in the keywords influencer marketing. Now, it's your decision what resources you are going to choose from your research to include in your assignment. So we are here to help analyze your results and ensure that they are connected to your topic. But at the end of the day, it's your choice to choose which articles you want to include in your paper, presentation, or whatever your assignment may be. I want to highlight before we get started that there's a few things that really will influence what articles you pick, and that depends on what shows up on your search results page here. And in order to get search results that are relevant, your search terms are very important. So it's important to take the time to reflect upon your topic, think about what the keywords, the synonyms might be, and what is essential to type in here, as it will definitely influence what comes up in your results. So very quickly, there are other videos we have that talk about searching and how to do this. And of course, you can always come to the library and chat with us about this. I've done a search for influencer marketing. It shows me 185,000 results. There's a research starter. So this is a topic that is out there. It's pretty popular, gives you a little definition. But now if I go through this results list, I'm seeing books, lots of books actually, peer-reviewed article here, peer-reviewed article. So there's sort of a mix of types of results that are coming up. And if I were to take a look at some of these titles, influencer marketing, building brands, that one's not in English, authenticity in influencer marketing, influencer profiling, categorization of social media and their association with their content, revenue generation, education. Should we be putting this into curriculum? So you'll notice firstly, one thing I want to highlight is when you have a general search, lots of different subtopics are coming up here. And so if this is not specific enough for you, we're not finding, 5 articles on a similar topic. They're all about different things. We might need to go back to our search and tweak that a little bit. So I'm specifically interested in, how does influencer marketing, influence consumer behavior, right? And consumer behavior is probably a term that's more likely to show up in the literature and the research, right? And day to day, if I was chatting with my friends, it might be, how does it affect my online shopping habits? But when I'm thinking and reflecting on my topic, and I've done a little bit of background reading, consumer behavior is the term I want to use. So now I've narrowed it down to influencer marketing, consumer behavior. Those are my two key concepts here, and they're not one words, right? Influencer marketing is one term, consumer behavior is another term. So those are my two key concepts. And now you'll see my results is 56,000. So many fewer results, and they should all have both of these concepts within the articles that pop up, right? So if we take a quick look here, this first one, the title says encouraging pro-social consumer behavior, reviewing the influencer and digital marketing literature. The second one, influencer marketing, the impact of authenticity on customer purchase intentions, influencer marketing, promoting sustainable lifestyles and consumer behavior. How effective is it? How are social media influencers and their role in purchasing patterns, specifically amongst females and skincare? So now I'm getting the common thread being the influencers and consumers, versus my first search was much too broad. So your search terms really do matter in giving you articles that you want to pull from and you want to choose from. So first, I wanted to talk about that. Second, before we evaluate the results that have come up, you might want to take a look at your assignment instructions. A few key things there that can influence your searching. The first is, what type of sources are you allowed to use? If your assignment says you must have scholarly or peer-reviewed articles, there is a button below the search bar that you can click, and it will narrow to the scholarly articles, which is great because then other things aren't going to pop up and you can check off that you've completed that aspect of the assignment. You'll notice my results go down now to 32,000. So imagine taking a look for scholarly articles about influencers' impact on consumer behavior, and looking at over 100,000, 500,000, over 50,000, it would have been, so difficult to find those. So doing these little tweaks at the start to influence your search will help you in choosing the best article for your topic. The second thing you can check in your assignment instructions is if your instructor has indicated that you need to find articles published in the past 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. In some disciplines, this is really important, perhaps in healthcare, perhaps in politics, or even business, it could be very important. And so if that is indicated in your assignment, please follow those instructions. If not, you can decide if that's something that's important to you as a researcher. So I'm talking about influencer marketing and consumer behavior. I can probably limit this to the past 5 or 10 years. Let's just do 5 years and see if that has a big difference. So past 5 years, there's still 22,000 results. So again, every time I'm making these little tweaks, it's narrowing down my focus. And hopefully from here, I'll have really good choices for articles that suit my topic. So a key thing to summarize is that it's really helpful to have background information on your topic and an idea of where you want to go with your research or your research question. Keeping in mind, you want to still be open to new topics and ideas that might come up that you haven't thought about, but it is really key to know, all right, my topic is too broad or is it narrow enough? And you can explore some of the library videos and resources that we have to help you narrow those topics. At this point, I'm happy with my keywords. I'm happy with the filters or limits that I've applied to my search. And at this point, it's now your turn to choose what articles am I going to use for my assignment. As we look through the list of results here, there's a few things to keep in mind and take a look at. The first being the title. The title is in blue text, the font is a little bit bigger, and it's the first key piece of information we see. And so we'll see here, encouraging pro-social consumer behavior, a review of influencer and digital marketing literature. This title is a little bit longer, and you can see anywhere that's highlighted my key terms. So consumer behavior, I typed in a keyword, it showed up in the title. Influencer marketing, I typed in, and it's coming up in the title as well. Something else that's very interesting about this particular title is that it tells you it's a review of the existing literature. So these authors likely didn't study consumers or influencers themselves, but they studied the other literature and the other research that's already been done, and they've done a review of that. So you could read this and get a summary of what's some of the research that's already out there. Again, pay attention to your assignment details. Some assignments will say a literature review is not allowed. It has to be original research, and so you would not be able to use this. If you are allowed to use literature reviews and things, then, sorry, not literature reviews, but reviews of the literature or systematic reviews, then this is something you could use for your assignment. A few other details I want to highlight that you can look at when evaluating if you want to use the source or not. You can look at the publication information. This is in the journal Psychology and Marketing. That seems very related to my topic of influencer marketing and consumer behavior. It's also from November 2024. Of course, it's going to be within my past 5-year time period, but this is quite recent, which is nice. And then we have the start of the maybe summary or abstract here. You can see in bold related terms to my keyword here. So consumer behaviors, actions taken by consumers, et cetera, et cetera. You don't get to see much here. You can click show more, or you can click on the article title and go into more details. So, it tells you here, we did multiple studies, a study one, they did a scoping review. They looked at 15 articles. They did a second study and they looked at 867 articles, whoa, a lot more. And our findings can help, future research, et cetera, et cetera. And they have a keyword map that identifies critical factors for influencing pro-social consumer behavior. You'll also notice, if I'm going to click show less now, my apologies, scroll back up. Oh yeah, it's this first one. If you don't click show more, you would just have to click on the title to read that whole abstract. You can look at the subjects as well. So consumer behavior, influencer marketing, pro-social behavior. Again, my keywords are coming up in the title, abstract, and subjects. And so this has probably been pushed to the top of my results list because my keywords are coming up in so many places. If that's something that interests you, you can click on it. Again, you can scroll down. I would recommend looking at more than just the first result, just to see what else is out there, right? So again, we have impact on authenticity, customer purchase intentions. I typed in consumer behavior, but customer purchase intentions to me seems quite related and probably has come up because it's in the subjects as well, consumer behavior, right? And this is specifically about the automotive industry. Very interesting. And then I think there was one a little bit lower down here. This is about sustainable lifestyles. This one was about the skincare industry. So within, our topic, there's still the articles and the studies are still quite specific to a particular group as well. So let's say we wanted to click on, I'll just go back up here to my first one. All right, we've got, again, all the details, the title, published in. Here's some information about the authors. If you can find more information about the authors, it could be on this page or it could be in the PDF itself, just to double check that they either work for or are affiliated with the university and that they're scholarly authors. Again, we have our subject terms here. These two are the top ones, which are my terms, and that abstract that we took a look at as well. If you wanted to look at the PDF, I would click on Access Options, PDF. And this allows you to dig a little bit deeper into the source itself. I'm just going to close some of these extra things that we don't need. This is very nice publication contents, but I'm just going to close that and look at this myself. So again, this is a review article. So they didn't do original research. They're reviewing the other literature that has come out already. And looks like they were for, at least one of the authors works for Imperial College of London. So that's a good sign that they're academics. We've got introduction, many in-text citations. I'm just going to scroll down. I'm sure many of you are familiar with sort of the layout. We've got a methodology, very results, very typical, this whole layout, discussion, the studies of an academic article. If you have questions about what an academic article is, you can review our other videos and resources about academic articles. Basically, what I'm looking at is for the end of the paper, we've got, their findings, and then here's a reference list. So they have obviously consulted a lot of literature in doing their study, and this really shows to me that they did do their due diligence, and it looks academic. If you see anywhere on here, I'm not sure if I noticed, sometimes there's also a little paragraph about the authors, but we did note up above, go back up to the top, that there was the correspondence. Oh, here we are. Their affiliations are here. So University in China, University of Essex, and Imperial College London. So all of them are affiliated with universities and therefore I would say academics. Again, this was a review of the existing literature, so double check your assignment instructions if you're allowed to use that type of source. Here on the right side, we have our options. You can save if you have a My EBSCO account and you like to keep things here, you can, but there's no pressure. You can also download the PDF. If you click on the share button, you'll be able to create a link and it will bring you back here, which is lovely. And you can also generate a citation. Of course, we always say you should double check the citations as sometimes they have errors in them. If you have questions about how to do a search or if you're struggling to find results that work for you or seem not related to your topic, please feel free to reach out to the library. We'd be happy to assist you.